Welcome to the Anxious Creative Podcast. I'm Dawn Bradley, your host, and I am so excited that you are tuning in this week because I have a very awesome guest here with me, and I cannot wait for you to hear her story. She has a story of so much inspiration as a small town hairstylist. So even if you're not in a small town, I know you're going to learn so much from my guest this week. She is phenomenal. She is my friend. She is also my student of Rock Your Business, and you are not going to believe the things that she has done in her business in such a short time. So get ready, buckle up for another awesome episode of The Anxious Creative with my special guest, Casey Taylor. I overthink, I overshare, and I overanalyze. So come explore with me as I chat about business, life, and relationships, all through the lens of an anxious creative. All right, you guys, thank you for being here at The Anxious Creative. I have a very special treat for you this week. I have my friend and student, Casey Taylor, all the way from Texas, joining me on Zoom right now. Welcome, Casey, to the podcast.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. I feel like
I am so freaking pumped.
Is this like a full circle moment for you?
Very much. Like, I literally cannot believe this is happening to me right now.
Have you been on a podcast before?
No, this is my very first podcast. I feel like I will need to celebrate later.
Yes. I feel like we should have like champagne with us or something right now. Well, I'm so stoked to have you here because your story is so inspirational. And one, you're just like such a go-getter, but not in this like hustle and grind mentality way. I know the hustle and grind's like part of your past, which is also part of mine, but I see you making such strategic, well thought out plans for you and your business and really breaking stereotypes of the small town mold. And so I'd love you to just share with everyone a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what's your deal. So everyone that's listening kind of is like, ooh, like I know they're like, we need to know more, but just let them know who is Casey Taylor and what are you all about?
Yeah, so my name's Casey. I'm from a small town in East Texas, Lindell, Texas. Woo woo. We have like a population of 6,000, and I'm a hairstylist and salon owner, and I'm just really passionate about helping other stylists break that mold of the small town stylist stereotype, because I think we are so much more than those stereotypes that used to define us.
Yeah, I love it. So did you grow up in a small town? Like, did you grow up where you are right now?
I actually grew up here in Lindell. Yes.
Wow. And sorry, what's the population?
So 6,000.
6,000. That's tiny. And how many hairstylists are there?
Definitely more than 20.
Wow.
I mean, I think there's more than that. That's like, I was trying to do the math like a few weeks ago, and I was just like, the ones I could list off the top of my head, there were like a lot of salons, and each salon has more than one stylist. So I don't know, there's probably close to 50 hairstylists in the town.
I love finding this out. I had no idea because you have made some like really kick-ass moves in your business that I think a lot of people who work in small towns would be really terrified to make. And so can you share with everyone, well, before that, let's like rewind and share with everyone your journey in your career. Cause I know you didn't always work where you are right now, have you?
Yeah, so I've kind of been all over the place. So when I first started, I knew that I wanted to try doing commission, because pretty much everybody in my small town, there's no commission-based salons in my small town. So everybody just jumped straight to booth rent. And I felt like I saw a lot of people kind of halting their growth. So I really wanted from the beginning to do more than just the perms and roller sets and Kelly Clarkson stripes. So I went and worked at a commission-based salon. I started at one and pretty much was just a receptionist at first. Went to a different commission-based salon that did teach me a lot more technique-based things and really helped me with my technique and growing my business. but it was still a little over a 30-minute drive away. And it really just wasn't where I wanted to be. So I wanted to get back to my hometown. And I'm just a little bit more of an independent person. I knew that I really just wanted to do my own thing. So I had a beautiful opportunity land in my lap to work with another stylist in town. And she had a small 2-chair salon. And I started working with her, and my business just kind of took off from there. And then a strange twist of events, a few years later, we were in the process of moving to a new location, and she ended up on bed rest with her pregnancy. And it was kind of a situation of, I have to take over the salon or I have nowhere to work. So I had said for years I never wanted to be a salon owner. And then I was in a position to be a salon owner. So I dived in, and thankfully my husband was super helpful and just went for it. So now I own my salon, and It's been a very crazy journey, but a good one.
So how long have you had your salon as the owner?
2.5 years.
Okay. Wow. That's so cool. Okay. So knowing that, so you've been your own salon, you've been how many years into the industry at this point?
6.
6, and 2.5 being your own salon owner. That one is amazing. And so now walk everyone through some of the decisions you made this year, because you've had like a really big price increase, you're changing your schedule. That's not an easy, I know there's a lot of small town people. I get DMs all the time being like, I can't do these things. I live in a small town. And so I love for you to share how you did it and how you got through the obstacles, maybe more so the mental obstacles than anything.
Yeah. So I like before joining Rock Your Business, I had a bunch of small price increases, but for some reason I had it in my mind. I think an educator at some point had said, oh, a 15% price increase is a pretty big increase. Like that's a decent increase. So 15% is like a standard. So I kept doing these little 15% increases, and it wasn't working. I was still staying like way too overbooked, way too busy, and just totally exhausted. And I could see my marriage really suffering from it because I wasn't able to dedicate time to my husband and my family and my friends. And so I kept trying to find these changes. Well, then once I had decided to join Rock Your Business and went through the course, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of working 60 hours a week, and I'm tired of these little price increases not working. I'm just going to go for it. So between the COVID situation of no longer double booking, I had an assistant before quarantine that really wasn't working out. I ended up having a major price increase. So before, for my area, I was charging like pretty standard pricing, but my prices were like an average of like 40 to 46 an hour. Probably more like 40 an hour though, because I would totally emotionally discount before. And then after Rock Your Business, I decided I was going to up my prices to $70 an hour.
Wow.
So very
and that
major
was through
increase.
That wasn't just like a, hey, I'm going to up it. You like figured it out through the formula in the program, right?
Yes. Yeah. Using the formula in the program, and also just a lot of mindset work, honestly, because there's so many stylists. I think that we think, oh, well, we're in a small town, so we don't have to charge those big city prices. But really, we all deserve to be successful, and we all deserve to make a decent living.
Absolutely.
You know, the average hairstylist in my area makes $23,000 a year, and no one should make that little. So I was tired of making too little. I wasn't making that little. I thought of myself as pretty successful before, but I wanted the success in my own version of success. Because my whole life, everybody, as I was doing hair, they're like, oh, you're so busy. That's such a blessing. But in reality, being busy is not a blessing if it's taking away from yourself.
Yeah. And like working 14-hour days, right?
Yeah, definitely not okay. You should not be getting off work when Whataburger is selling breakfast taquitos.
I love it. Also, okay, sidebar, we need to talk about Chick-fil-A for a second.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because
this is the first thing.
Yeah, you know my love of chicken nuggets. And
yes,
Casey DM'd me the other day. Well, how did it even start? You said something like, do you have Chick-fil-A? And I was like, no, we don't have it in Canada.
Well, there was the big nacho versus nugget debate.
Yes,
and I was like, there would not even be this debate if you had had Chick-fil-A.
Because their nuggets are that good?
They are the best nuggets.
You sent me a picture of like a biscuit with a nugget in it.
Yeah. Mini chicken biscuits. Little chicken minis.
That sounds amazing. Like, as soon as it is safe to travel, I'm coming to visit you.
Yes.
So you would
there are no nuggets that compare.
Yeah. So you pick nuggets all day long, every day.
Oh, yes.
I feel like this should maybe be like a new thing in the Anxious Creative where I ask every guest, like, nuggets or nachos.
Yeah. Although if you switched it to tacos instead of nachos, that might be a hard debate for me. I'm not sure.
Isn't it kind of the same thing though? Not really, I guess.
No.
Okay. Okay, so back to your success, because I think it's like people are like, it's a sin that you haven't had Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, I've heard of it. I've had what's the one in California? In-N-Out burger. Do you have In-N-Out?
I've had it. They're not close. We have Whataburger.
Okay.
So it's different. I think it's better, but
I'm just like McDonald's through and through. McNuggets. It's like a block away from my house. It's right over there. I can like see it through the window.
Oh no. Once you have Chick-fil-A, you're going to forget about McDonald's.
Okay.
It's all you're ever going to want again.
Well, if people that are listening to this, please like weigh in and shoot Casey and I a DM letting us know if your nuggets are nachos and if it's Chick-fil-A or McNuggets. That'll be the thing.
Yes.
Okay, so
debate.
Going back to you raised your prices a month ago as of right now, correct? And so has there been backlash? Was your fears confirmed? All the anticipation and the anxiety that came with making some of these big, bold decisions. And I know you're having a scheduling change happening in the new year, but like the first big thing you did was I don't even want to say like raise your prices, but you started to implement proper pricing for you and your business.
Yes. Obviously it's scary anytime you raise your prices. Especially, I felt like I had such a book full of dream clients, honestly. It wasn't like I was struggling to have dream clients in my chair. And I even wrote down in my Rock Your Business journal, one of my big limiting beliefs was like, well, this would be so much easier if I didn't have dream clients. Like if I had clients I didn't like, this would be so much easier, which isn't true. It would have been hard no matter what. So having those conversations with people is hard, but I think the whole, the way that Rock Your Business, like the way you taught us to educate our clients and communicate, like communication was such a huge process in it. And communicating those changes effectively, honestly, completely softened the blow to the pushback that I expected to get. And not to say that there wasn't any. I definitely had one client who sat there and said, ouch, 10 times.
I remember you telling me
which was a little rough.
Yeah.
But for the most part, my clients were super gracious, super understanding, and they're ready to rock and roll and keep on going with it.
That so was the anxiety of it more so just in your mind than actuality?
I think so.
Like there was the confirmation of that one client. There'll always be maybe one or two clients. Is that client still seeing you that said, ouch, ouch, ouch?
Yes, she is actually. I've had a few others trail off. But in reality, you would think like, okay, a 75% increase, like I mean, that's like, for some clients, it was a $90 increase, like
Yeah.
very big amounts. So you would have thought I would have lost a lot more of my clientele, but really, I've lost less than 10 people through the whole process.
And what would you account that? Do you think it's like how you educated them and communicated it to them more so than just being like, I'm slapping this on and taking home more money? I think that's where most hairstylists feel like that's how their clients are going to, or guests are going to receive it. But what would you owe, like, what do you owe to the fact that you did, like, you calculated and realized you were like grossly undercharging your clients? 75% increase, not saying everyone's going to have to do that, but that's like such a ballsy move, which I love, because so many people be like, they'll figure it out and they'll go, there's no way I could increase it by that much, even though I know I should be charging that much. But you went ahead with it, lost less than 10 people. What do you account that to?
Honestly, I think a lot communication is everything, and
Mm-hmm.
communicating very openly and honestly. I think my clients could really tell that I was coming to them very vulnerably in the
Mm,
process and being honest. Like, here are the numbers, and this is just the change that I have to make. And even though you would think in the middle of a pandemic, it's the worst time ever to raise your prices, I think my clients were a lot more receptive to it because they understood, hey, there's a lot of changes happening and this is what she has to do. It is what it is.
that's awesome. And yeah, like I feel like so many people would be like, I couldn't do this in a pandemic, or there's no way that like my clients are going to be okay with this, or my clients are losing their jobs and like this, and this. But lots of people haven't lost their jobs, and lots of people are understanding of like you can't double book anymore. And that's another big part of it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not double booking and the way that product costs have gone up. I mean, when I was doing the math, I was like, I'm losing like $25 to $35,000 a year from all of these changes. I can't just be eating. I mean, that's like a whole income. I can't just lose it all.
Yeah.
So the changes were super necessary.
I love
And
that.
yeah, there's definitely some clients who have obviously had hardships. We've all had hardships through this, but there are plenty of people who are willing to stick with it.
Yeah.
And
So,
honestly, my schedule needed to lose a few people, so
and I think that's the hardest thing to learn is like if you want to work less, it means you have to let go of some clients.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think something that I've heard you and Lindsay say a lot is that sometimes people they're needed on your journey for a season, and sometimes
Mhm.
it's time for them to step away.
Yeah. Lindsay Mayuga, right? We giving her a shout
Yes.
out here.
Yes,
Love
she's the
her.
best. Love her.
So if you had to narrow everything down that you took away from your Rock Your Business journey, what's the number one thing you've walked away with from it?
Honestly, it's that mental health equals business health. That was such
Mm,
a huge part of the journey because I don't think I could have made any of the changes without having the right mindset that I have now. So, really like focusing in, I have my journal that I do every day, and I write down my affirmations, is the first thing. I write down my three big goals, and then I write down my daily goals, and then I write down my self care for the day. Um, because all of those things are important. And if I'm not writing them down, I kind of find myself forgetting those things.
wow. That's amazing. I remember when you first told me like mental health equals business health. And it's so true. Like our personal lives and our business lives and our mental and physical and emotional health all tie into everything. Like everything's interconnected. So we can't just work on our business. We have to work on everything.
Yeah, because you can only get so far in your business if you're struggling internally,
Yeah. And that's what
and
I
you're not
love
going to have the
about,
confidence you need.
yeah, I love about the community of people that have like the alumni and the people that you were in enrollment with is that you develop these deep connections with people that go beyond just like, what are you doing in your business, but how much like a community and it is a support of that. And would you say like you've met some pretty rad people from being in the program?
Oh my gosh, the program has the best community of people I could ever imagine. I've never felt more secure and safe and at home in a community of people. The Facebook community really helped lift me up out of some really low lows, because through the process of growth, there's definitely, the highs and the really low lows. The lower the lows, the higher the highs.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely had some like hard parts through the journey, but the community was so supportive. Like I couldn't imagine going through the program without the community. I don't think it would have been impossible.
Yeah. I always say like the community is like 90% of it. Like having people
Definitely.
remind you of what you can do and see and being inspired by other people of what they're doing, right? Like I
Yeah,
think
because even though people are on different points in their journey, they're
Mhm.
all achieving different things. And it's so inspiring to see other people growing, and then they can support you through your growth, and to have like minded people who can also offer different perspectives.
Yeah. I love that cuz it's well and I think you said like Lauren Barton was one of the people that like really inspired you to show you what's possible, right? And her story is almost identical
Definitely.
to yours.
I know,
Yeah.
it's so crazy to think that, like, listening to that podcast, I think I listened to it, it was during the pandemic. I want to say it was like April. I was listening to her story, and to think like how all of that in these months, I mean, it's not even a year, to see how far like I've come in that, and how our stories are parallel but also different at the same time. It's so amazing to see.
Yeah. I can't wait. One day we'll all meet and hang out and eat Chick-fil-A together.
Yes. With the Chick-fil-A sauce, it's a must.
Oh yeah. What is it again? What is it's like you said honey mustard or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like honey mustard and barbecue sauce.
I'm into it. That sounds good. Honey mustard and barbecue. Maybe I'll try mixing them together here. I don't know.
It's kind of close.
So, Casey, what's next? Like you've made these big bold moves. Do you see bigger bolder moves happening? What's the next thing for you in the new year? What do you see you expanding or staying or moving into different areas? What's next? What can we
Yeah.
expect to see?
So my next big goal is to really dive deep into some education for small town stylists.
Mm,
I think there's a lot of stereotypes that kind of feel very, I don't know what the word is, but very like trapping. Like people feel like, oh, you're just a small town stylist. Small town stylists can't charge that much. You're just a hairstylist. And a lot of stereotypes that you see in other places as well. But in a small town, I think a lot of us are very discouraged to growing our business, and we feel like we can't do as much as those big city stylists. And I really want to help um, others achieve amazing things with their business, and to achieve the success that they've dreamed of and they've wanted with their business, regardless of their zip code and their population.
I love that. And so if there's any small town stylists listening to this, they should reach out to you, right?
Definitely. Yes.
Build the community up of that. And I know there's tons of like rock your business. There's tons of rock your businessers that are small town people too, which I love because I feel like so when I was creating Rock Your Business, I would and I was like interviewing and doing some market research, people would be like, I've taken stuff before, but it only is catering to big city people. And have you felt that way? Like there wasn't anything that really catered to where you were at and what you needed?
Yes, for sure. Like, I feel like so much of what you see on social media is like, oh, we'll use Instagram, we'll use this, use that. Well, people in my area don't really use Instagram. Like,
Mm-hmm.
nobody, and even if they're using Instagram, they're not searching local hashtags to
I was
find
going
a
to say for
hairstylist.
6,000 people, you know what's in the city. You don't need to look up a hashtag.
Exactly. So people are searching in different places. And so I think there's a lack of communication and education as far as like how to meet your clients where they're at. Because you could be posting on Instagram, but if your clients aren't on Instagram, they're not going to find you.
100%. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, you can take what I teach and use it on social media, but it's not exclusive to it. And I'm so excited that you're diving into even more of that for people from small towns. So, Casey, where can people find you? Website, social media? What's the best way to connect with you?
So I have my website. It's styledbycasey.com. And then you can also find me on Instagram at styled.by.casey.
I love that. Well, thank you so, so, so much for coming on the podcast. I have been like anxiously awaiting this day. I knew I wanted to have you on for a while. I loved watching your journey as you just like took one foot in front of the other and just kept taking these steps, which is really, really cool from my perspective to watch. And I hope that you've given yourself a pat on the back and can recognize how far you've come. Can you see your journey? Are you too much in it?
I think I can see the difference in honestly like how I feel, and that's how I'm able to like kind of measure the success through the process. It's not just like, obviously I can look at the numbers and see how my income has like totally exploded and everything, but seeing just the growth journey of where I'm at internally has been like a huge revelation of the success all of this journey has had on me.
If you had to like say like 2 adjectives, I don't know if they're adjectives. I'm the worst at grammar. That was the wrong. I wish I edited this podcast now because I take that whole bit out. If you had to describe your feelings before taking Rock Your Business and how you feel internally now, what would be the words you'd use as before and after of emotions and feelings?
I was very like stressed and tired and exhausted before. And now I am confident, and I don't even know, there's not like a single word, but just like I feel so much self-love as well. Yeah, and just peace.
Yeah. Oh, you just said it. Yeah, said it at the same time. I love that. I was like, peace. That's really, really cool because I think that's the one thing that sometimes we don't know how to even communicate. Like the feeling is so important because as anxious creatives, like how we feel dictates how we show up and how we act. And I love that going from like stressed, tired, exhausted to confident, full of self-love and peaceful. Like I can just like, I feel like I relax listening to that, which is pretty cool.
It's such an amazing feeling, and like you said, it's like so hard to describe, and I just want like everybody to experience that.
Yeah, once you've gone from being on one side to the next and realizing like you don't realize how hard you were being on yourself and your body and your mind until you're on the other side of it.
Exactly.
Oh, well, like I said, I'm just so proud and impressed by everything that you do. I can't wait to continue to watch your journey and see, like, I can't wait to check in with you. Well, not check in, I'm sure we'll be in contact, but to see 12 months from now where you're at.
I'm so excited. It's hard to even fathom with how much my business has grown in just the past few months to see like what a whole year could do.
Yeah. And do you feel like you had to put that much time and effort into it, or do you feel like it happened quite seamlessly?
I feel like it was very seamless, honestly. I think once your mindset is in the right place, everything else kind of fell into place.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking this time to come hang out on the podcast today. Everyone go give Casey a follow, shoot her a DM, let her know that you were listening to this podcast, styled.by.casey. Did I get that right?
Yep.
On Instagram. Keep an eye out on her because I just have this feeling that there was like big waves coming for you in your future, and I can't wait to see you ride them. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much.